The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set.
Go, Breeze.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, man? Big four, man. Biggest four, man. Shout out Big Lotto, man. Shout out the other big, you know. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Look, clickbait. Everything I do keep going viral. Louis on my leather, got my laces throwing spirals. Rappers, they been washed, I got them throwing in the towel. Chirping on them, net them birds dead, just like owl. Know that I'm a star, cause that was Simon said coward. I would never cheat, cause you and I my only vowel. Rappers, they be sweet, they in the patch, I know they sour. Know I put some on, they watch my movements like I'm bow.
The beat go off? Okay. Whoa.
Rip me out the plastic, need my cash and make it fit gymnastic. Drop my tape, then blast it, got them spazzing, make them trip like acid. IRS, I'm taxing, killing fashion, I'm a drip assassin. Did you think before you tweet? Did you stretch before you reach? Did you check before you creep? Can't buy respect, it ain't that cheap, I gotta eat. Ain't break a sweat, review that chef like I was Keith. We got Van Leaf, that's what I stress, if they suggest we can't repeat.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bear. I got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
Man, I thought it was a Monday all day. Thought it was a Tuesday for half the day. Man, I don't know what day it is, bro. I'm just ready for it to be Friday. That's all I know.
Yeah. With Monday being Memorial Day, I got threw off because I was getting ready to listen to Fox show today. The hear you on there. Oh, and I realized that was yesterday.
Yep. Me and Puffy held it down yesterday, man.
That's what's up, man. So y'all every Tuesday tune in 97.7. That's right. I got that right that time.
Yep.
97.7, man. In Ruston, Monroe, 318 area. I don't know how far y'all reach. It's online though. If I can listen to Alabama, you can listen with Louisiana. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, online they got an app. There's a whole bunch of ways to listen.
Yes, sir. Man, we were talking before the show. What in the world is going on? Who decided this schedule where ain't nothing to watch on TV tonight? Ain't no WNBA.
WNBA dropped the ball.
Ain't no NBA. Ain't no NHL. I don't even know.
I understand no NBA, you know, then they got the final day.
Yeah.
WNBA, man. When they told you the finals was gonna start on June 1st, you should have had a game up until June. And what's crazy, they got a game tomorrow. So you're gonna go up against the NBA, but not capitalize on the day they don't have a game. You gotta do better than that.
Right. Man, listen. I don't even have Little League baseball anymore. Young Dilly Mays Hayes, man, they ended their season yesterday in the championship game. They fell short, real short. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm proud of the season that they had as a team. Yeah. Proud of the, you know what I'm saying, the progress he made. Just seeing him grow as a person and a player, as a teammate was real you know, it's like touching to my heart. I was emotional after the game. I ain't want to talk to nobody. But you know, I had to be strong for my baby, man. He came home, he was just like, I need some time to myself.
He took it hard, huh?
Yeah, he took it kind of hard, man. So he back up and coming though, because I told him, I said, hey, I want you to know I turned in your paperwork for football. It's like, oh, let's go. So,
that boy ready finna go run routes.
Oh, he ready. He ready. He was already ready when I told him he playing tackle this year. And he was like, I get the stiff arm. I said, yeah. He said, all right, let's go. So that's what's up, man. But man, we here. We got, you know what I'm saying, a few things to talk about. Talk about these sports that ain't being played today. But shout out to the chat. This old vet said, what's good? What's good, this old vet? Hope you're doing well.
Hey, before I want to shout out. I know I don't think he in here right now yet, but I got Nick. It's his birthday today, so shout out to our guy. I know we like to give him hell a lot, but he always watching the show, tuning in, and interacting in the chat. So happy birthday, my boy!
Happy birthday, Nick, man. Glad you know what I'm saying, came, joined along and tune in with your wrong takes. You know what I'm saying? Chris not here, you here. Tell everybody.
I've never seen them in the same place at the same time.
No, they used to be in here. Remember, they used to be, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, they're the only person who would agree with Chris.
Yeah, they used to roast each other or try to. But anyway, man. But hey, man, so before we get started, man, got to give a shout out to our sponsors over at betonline.ag. BetOnline, we'll be back 1 minute. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Man, y'all know we couldn't talk baseball, talk this NCAA tournament without bringing our guy back. Welcome back, Julian, the baseball guy. Welcome back, man. How you been?
What's going on, Coop? What's going on?
My guy, what's happening, bro?
What's happening, man?
All right, I see you got the jersey on, represent. We're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna talk about that later because I hope you're right. It ain't looking too good though. It's look, but we gonna talk about it because we're gonna have faith. But man, let's get started, man. NCAA tournament begins on Friday. What baseball tournament? Let me put it. The road to Omaha. Let me ask you this, Julian, man, because we talked about it a little bit on Sunday. What was the biggest surprise to you for the field of 64?
I think that Campbell was not hosting. That was probably one of them. Indiana State and who else was it?
South Carolina.
South Carolina was kind of interesting because they started off good and then they just went downhill. But I knew Auburn because they got hot at the right time. And I think it all started when they played against you guys, against LSU, when they took the series from them. And then they just rode the momentum all the way to Hoover. But I think Indiana State hosting, that was a surprise. Because even Campbell, they weren't going to host at their own stadium. They were hosting where they played a midweek, which was like I think like a double-A ballpark or something like that. So that it was intended for bigger audience. So they knew that. And they got the short end of that.
I think for me, the biggest surprise was, well, other than, probably the worst team ever to make the tournament, Tulane, winning their conference. I think for me, one of the biggest surprises was Southern Miss not hosting. I know you talked about Campbell, but I think Southern Miss playing in that tough conference that they play in the Sun Belt, a very good baseball conference, and for them to put up the performance that they did in their tournament, I thought that they would be hosting. But I think if I'm not mistaken, they're going to the Auburn Regional. So
at least so.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a very winnable region for them, in my opinion.
Yeah. With Campbell not hosting, do you think that is in part due to the fact that they didn't have a large enough facility? I know that they were going to go to another facility, but could they have played part in that?
I think it could have, but it just depends. Like the tournament was kind of like weird because the last 4 teams in, they were saying like, oh, we know RPI is not a big deal, but we looked at RPI and that's how teams got in and not. So it depends, like, what were they looking for? Because I think, in a long time, Texas, like no Texas schools hosted at all this year. And we had 3 in South Carolina with Coastal Carolina, South Carolina, and Clemson. So you're seeing it move up, like it's mostly Midwest, East, and then you have Stanford by themselves.
Yeah.
So That
North
one
Carolina
is.
had 8 schools hosting.
So I don't know what they were looking at. I know it's also you got to go off what they did during the season, but I mean Campbell did everything they were supposed to. I think like what I'm surprised like about Campbell and Southern Miss is Campbell. You're in the middle of ACC and SEC schools, and you're still pulling in that talent to be a contender every year. In Southern Miss, you're deep in the heart of SEC country, and getting guys like that to come to your school.
Yeah, you got to throw in East Carolina or Cliff Godwin in the mix too. And I misspoke. North Carolina has 8 teams in the tournament, not 8 teams hosting. But like you, it just goes to show, like you say, the kind of bias that they have toward that southeastern area of the country, whether it's ACC or SEC. I mean, when you look at 8 SEC teams, 8 or 9 SEC teams hosting, I mean that's the most that we've seen in a while from them. So I think that there is kind of some bias there, and especially when you look at who's on the committee in some of these instances, with South Carolina having influence on the committee and some of these other teams in the conference. But what do you think is the most competitive regional this weekend? Like the one that's kind of most of a toss up?
I think it's Gainesville, Arkansas, and the one South Carolina. No, not South Carolina. The Clemson, that regional, because you have Tennessee going in there, and Tennessee's no joke. Then another one that was kind of like a toss-up was, I think the Indiana State one, because North Carolina's in that one. They could win in that one too.
Yeah,
as a 2 seed.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bracket here. Actually, you know what? Let me.
Oh, one more. Stanford. That's a tough regional out there too.
Let me throw
Because
this
you
up.
got San Jose, Stanford, Texas A&M, and Cal State Fullerton.
All right, gentlemen, bear with us. Can y'all see that? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do that because I know that makes it a little bit better. I'm looking this Winston-Salem bracket, Wake Forest bracket with Maryland. I think Maryland can cause some trouble there. I don't know. I think y'all bracket. I mean y'all region, Miami with Texas,
with ULL in Texas. Yeah.
ULL in Texas. That kind of seems a little, you know what I'm saying, that's not necessarily a gimme. I think Virginia's on upset alert because I do think
so.
ECU is probably
and Oklahoma, they like to put pressure on you.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State or DBU.
Yes.
No, that's DBU. Yeah, Oklahoma State with DBU in it. That's a tough regional, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I do think West Virginia is going to, you know what I'm saying, maybe take out Kentucky in that region. So
it depends how they sleep.
And then that ain't no lie. Southern Miss and Auburn, I think, is a toss-up as well. And TCU took care of Arkansas this year when they played. So I'm not saying they're going to do it again, but.
That's true. And let's not count out Arizona. Arizona has spoiled several regions the last 2 or 3 years. Last year, they barely got beat by, if I'm not mistaken, Ole Miss. That was a rematch from the year prior to. So
yeah,
I wouldn't count them out either. But let me ask this, Julian. Did anyone get snubbed?
I think maybe Arizona State, Kansas State. I don't know if you read the comments from the coach. He said if you're looking at schedule, we had the chance to be there and they didn't make it. And I think someone I saw in my chat, they're like, why don't we do like in basketball, like the final 4 teams play against each other, and then whoever wins, they go into the last spot.
Yeah, like the first 4 in or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that because they even do it in major leagues with the one game,
the wild card.
The wild card.
Yeah.
But they changed it this year. It's 2 out of 3 in the wild card now.
Ooh. Yeah. Do you think that some of these smaller conferences got some bids taken away from them?
They did. What were you gonna say?
Go ahead.
I think they did because you look at it. We all look at Tulane, but I think we also forget Charlotte took a bid too. Like DBU was supposed to get that automatic one, so those other teams, and then Oklahoma took a bid too. So I mean, we know that Oklahoma's a Power 5, but they're taking bids from the other ones that deserved it too.
Yes, I was when you mentioned those Kansas State and the other school that you mentioned, I
Arizona
think
State.
ASU.
Arizona State. Yeah, I think that when you look at Tulane, Charlotte, and even like a George Mason winning their conference, it kind of you look at those automatic bids that they took, and you can't keep a team like DBU out. You know what I mean? DBU is gonna get in no matter what. They're that good. So I think you look at it, that kind of pushed the Kansas State or Arizona State out. And where if you had a tournament style format like you're mentioning with the first four in, you could kind of see is some of these, smaller conferences are they as good as a Kansas State? Like is a DBU as good as a Kansas State? And then you could kind of let them earn their way in. But I don't know how you would keep DBU out, but I was just using them as an
Mhm.
example.
I think the only problem with the tournament is like you're gonna throw your number one guy to get into the tournament, and then you're gonna leave if you don't have that much of arms. Like it could be a quick exit into the tournament too.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I think the argument against that would be don't put yourself in a position to be in that game. Then you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's kind of like if you lose the first game in the regional and you got to go to the double
The
elimination
double
bracket.
M.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Don't put yourself in a position to have to throw your best arm in that second game. So it'd be interesting if they did do that. But I think to your point, it would kind of benefit some of these bigger schools who have the deeper rotations and deeper bullpens who have more arms.
Yeah, that one for sure.
Let me ask this: of the teams that aren't regional hosts, I guess you could say which, and I'm trying to word this properly. Which lower seed has the best chance to make it to I guess super regional or even Omaha for that matter?
I think if you look at like obviously Campbell, but East Carolina, those seeds, I think TCU is like kind of like a sleeper one, just because I don't know what happens when they play in Arlington. Like that's when they're like their best of themselves. When they play outside of Arlington, they're like hit or miss. It's either they blow a run lead or they're barely like coming back, like they're fighting to come back and they just lose it at the end. So TCU, I think ULL, like they could be an upset alert just because like how hot they're playing right now. I think Southern Miss because the coach is on his last ride.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're gonna do everything for him to get to that Omaha because they've been in the super regionals these past 2 years. Like they're almost there, so like they're trying to get into that one.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, what's crazy about Southern? My bad, Pooh. But what's
bro,
crazy
you
about
good.
Southern Miss is I learned this the other day. Fox was talking about it on the radio. They've only had like 4 coaches since 1958, or something ridiculous like that. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you could go pull it up to kind of like double check me on that though, Pooh. But like I think it's something ridiculous like that. So like if you get that job at Southern Miss, you're there for a while, and it's one of those ones where, like you mentioned, their coach leaving, it's not just a guy who's been there, 5 or 6 years. Now it's a guy who's been there probably since the 80s or early 90s. You know what I mean? So it's a guy who's kind of built that program and turned it into what it is. And so I to your point, I think there's extra motivation to kind of, send him out with at least a trip to Omaha, if not more. So I,
Wow.
I definitely think that there'll be one that's, and I mentioned earlier, they're going to a regional I think is winnable. I know Auburn's good, but Auburn's kind of just been riding a hot streak. They're not as talented as some of these other regional hosts. So I think Southern Miss, I think they got the best pitcher in the regional. And so I think they could do damage in that regional.
Yeah, I'm looking here and what you just said. So if it's after 1958, so
Mm-hmm.
they had coach CJ Pete Taylor, who was there for 24 years. He was there from 59 to 83. Did I do that math right? 24? Yeah, that's right. 24 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that was Hill Denson. He was there for 13 years, from 84 to 97. Then it was Corky Palmer from 98 to 2009. And then now Scott Berry, who's been there since
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah,
So
and,
as
and,
you
and
said,
Scott Berry was on staff for Cork. He was like the assistant on the staff before that, so he's been on for like the last two staffs. So yeah, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, and I'm looking at these win percentages. They've steadily gone up with each coach. Coach Taylor was at 478. Coach Denson was at 548. Coach Palmer was at 619, 619,
Crazy,
and Barry's at 653. So each coach has
Crazy.
improved upon, and it's only been, like you said, 4.
it's
So
crazy, bro.
wow.
Crazy.
Wow,
But yeah,
wow.
that's a great program, and I think that they'll be one that's on DBU also, man. Like DBU is. I know a lot of people don't really know about them, and they've kind of started making noise over the past couple of years. But with them being in the conference with Louisiana Tech, I've kind of seen them up close the last couple of years, and man, that's a factory over there, bro. Like they definitely is. They're East Carolina type of program that's gonna be in they're gonna be kind of like those Cal State, Rice teams back in the day, who were small school, who only really known for baseball, and you wonder how they always in the mix, but that's what Dallas Baptist is building over there.
That's true. What's up, Chance? What's up, Josh? Too. I'm sorry I ain't see you miss, but Chance says USM keeps coaches like the Steelers.
That's
That's true. And if you're a coach that has that confidence that I can be here for at least a decade, aren't you more willing to take a little bit more chances and fight a little harder?
Well, not just that, but how much more appealing does it make that job?
That's
What I
true.
mean? If you look at that job versus, let's say, I'm not gonna use an SEC job, but like let's say how like you look Southern Miss versus a Troy or a UAB or Memphis or
You don't want to use it. I'll use one for you. Look at USM versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss coach last year
or Mississippi State. I mean, 2 years ago they won a natty, and now look at them.
Bianco won it. He won it last year, and people were calling for his head.
Yeah, that's true.
He won. I mean, they were calling before the year he won the national championship.
I mean, Julian, you could say better than that. I know that these last two national champions are in Mississippi, but I think Southern Miss is by far the best program right now. And looking over the next couple years, looks like they have the brighter future
in Mississippi. Yeah.
No, yeah, they do, and it's funny because I think when Ole Miss won their national championship, I don't think that was their best team. Their best team was in 2019, actually, when they lost the championship game against Vanderbilt, that big lead. But they kind of got screwed. They got matched up with Arkansas in the Super Regionals.
I think their best team was 2020, but we didn't get to see it because they went in undefeated going into SEC play. So, yeah. But I completely agree. Now let me ask this: y'all want to go through and pick who y'all think gonna win each region? I'll bring the graphic back up.
Yeah, we could do that real quick.
All right, so let's look here. Winston Salem.
Give me Wake.
Yeah, Wake.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Wake. I think Maryland get them a little trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if this one went to a winner take all game. That fourth game or fifth game, however you look at it, but I think Wake takes it. Gainesville,
Florida.
I think Texas Tech.
Ooh.
I
hope you're right, my boy. I hope you're all right.
Listen. I just want to see FAMU win 1 or 2 games in that regional.
Man, FAMU got to play Florida the first game, bro.
They play Florida, then they're probably going to have to play UConn. So
I think it's funny. Another stat was with Florida, Coach Sullivan. He's been there 15 years, and he's hosted a regional for 13 years that he's been there.
That is crazy. Hey, let me ask you this real quick. If you're FAMU or if you're one of these Nichols Tulane type, do you even throw your ace in game 1?
I would. I mean, you have nothing to lose. Like a good example was last year, Oregon State versus New Mexico State. They threw their guy who was hot for New Mexico State. They threw the guy who was hot. He went 8 innings, 118 pitches, and he got a standing ovation from the Oregon State crowd because he shut them down.
Did they win?
They lost in the 10th inning.
So, I mean, I get that, but if they would have thrown him in the second game,
The
They could have
second game
possibly saved off elimination.
they played Vandy, so they were screwed either
Oh
way.
yeah, they were screwed. Anyway. They were screwed anyway. But you
I-
get what I'm saying. You get like, all right. So let's
Yeah.
use FAMU. All right, why throw your ace versus Florida? Throw your ace versus UConn in the second, and then maybe you can win that second elimination game. Then you win the championship. You know what I mean? Like I think you set yourself up better if you throw your ace in the second game and you kind of prolong it. Especially if you kind of stacked, the odds are stacked against you in that first game to win anyway.
I don't know. The words of Juwan Howard, we're gonna shock the world. I think they
I
go into
like the
Thundercat.
mindset. I like the mindset, that winning mindset.
Yeah. All right, let's look at Tuscaloosa region.
I just want to say Alabama will have to play an in-state school.
They will.
I think Alabama. I think they're too high right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Columbia with
Campbell.
I'm gonna go with Campbell too.
Okay, I think you know what? I rock with Campbell. With Campbell.
Campbell ain't gonna win now.
I rock with Campbell. All right, the Miami Coral Gables.
Obviously, I'm gonna go with Miami. I think it's the year of South Florida, like that it continues.
Anybody but ULL. Give me Miami.
I'm gonna say Texas.
Contrarian, I like it.
I'm just say Texas. Yeah. So, Conway Regional, the Coastal Carolina Regional.
Coastal.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Coastal on that one too. Stanford Regional.
I'm gonna say Texas A&M.
I didn't want to do that. So
I didn't want to, but I'm doing it too. I'm gonna say Texas A&M.
Give me the bellhop.
No, I can't do that, bro. Give me Fullerton in a crazy ending championship game.
Gotcha. All right, Charlottesville.
ECU.
I'm gonna go with VCU too.
Yeah. Not gonna get an argument out of me. Okay, let's go. East Carolina. Baton Rouge Regional. Now I did just hear
Wave.
I'm
just playing.
I just did hear a story.
Okay.
Oregon State's ace and number 2 pitcher are out for the season.
Oh, that's crazy. Give me Sam Houston. I'm just playing. LSU.
Yeah, I'm taking LSU on that one too. Nashville Regional.
The Vandy boys.
Vandy, they hot right now.
Yeah, Vandy found their mojo.
Lexington is hot right now. West Virginia.
I hate to
give me the teams that stay in the dorms.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
That's all of them then, Julian. They all staying in the dorms.
I'm gonna say West Virginia, even though they laid the egg in the Big 12 tournament.
They did, but I think they was trying to just save themselves. Well, I'm gonna hope that's what was the case.
All right, Stillwater,
DBU, and I'm not talking LSU. I'm talking Dallas Baptist.
I'm gonna go Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I'm going with Dallas Baptist. I gotta take Dallas Baptist in that one. Hold up, somebody just said. Adam said, "Is this Julian from Twitter Space, the one who roasted old dude about TVD?" Yes,
that
indeed.
Would be him. That would be him.
Indeed the Julian,
the baseball dude.
Auburn Regional,
Southern Mississippi.
I'm gonna go Southern Miss too.
Yeah, it's a good story. I gotta go with Southern Miss. Indiana State out of Terre Haute, the Terre Haute Regional.
I'm gonna go with Petty Pablo, North Carolina.
I'm gonna go with the Fighting Hicks of French Lick, Indiana State.
I'm gonna stick with UNC. Yeah, the Fighting Larry Birds.
Yeah,
Clemson,
Fighting Larry Birds.
Clemson Regional.
Give me the Tony Vitello fighting Tennessee Vols.
Yep. I want to see Tennessee versus Southern Miss, and Southern Miss wax that ass.
Give me the fur coats.
Fayetteville.
I want to just go with TCU with the run that they have.
I talked about bad about them yesterday, so I gotta redeem myself. Give me the Hogs.
All right, let's go with I'm gonna go Arizona. I think Arizona.
That's what
with
I'm
the
talking
upset.
about. Make it interesting. Make it interesting.
Arizona with the upset. So yeah, we're gonna have to see. Let me ask this, Julian, because we'll have to bring you back when we get the super regionals and kind of look at this again. But trying to think the best way to ask this. Y'all hear that?
That's your son?
That's my nephew.
I'm gonna pray for you, bro.
Please do. What's the shocker team? Let me ask this. Who do you got making to shocker team to make it to Omaha?
To Omaha?
Mhm.
I'm gonna say Southern Miss.
I like it. That means they would have beaten Auburn and then probably Tennessee. That sounds good to me.
I'm gonna say this. Go ahead, Julie.
I was thinking if Tennessee and Southern Miss play, who hosts? Because they're both the 2 seed.
That's a very good question.
And if you get it to Southern
Who's
Miss,
the two? I think it would be who's the higher like overall seed.
Tennessee would host because well, they're the higher seed, but they come out the higher bracket too. They come out of that 4 seed bracket too.
True, Clemson is a 4 seed.
So I'm gonna say this: if what I say comes true, and Arizona does upset and win that bracket, I'm not gonna say the toughest. They'll have to play either Indiana State, Wright State, Iowa, North Carolina. I'm not trying to slight any of those teams, but that's not necessarily a juggernaut that you're looking at.
I say that if hold on, back to the Tennessee Southern Miss thing.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't like the higher overall seed get the lowest like the number 1 overall seed gets the lowest 4 seed.
That's true.
And like the lowest 3 seed, like the lowest 2 seed, right?
I think
so. Wouldn't the 4 seed have the lower ranked 2 seed?
Yeah, but I'm saying it when it come out of the bracket though, right? When it matter who's bracket.
I don't know. I was just thinking like it's talking like I was just speaking in terms of who's the overall seed. Like what you know what I mean? Like 1 through 64 or whatever. What overall seed are you?
Yeah. I get what you're saying, and you probably are right. I don't know. I thought it was always
happen like that.
I thought it was always based off of who was
the
could be. Well, actually, we have seen this. The year that LSU won, I forget who bracket they were playing in.
The Oregon, right? When they went to Tennessee.
When they ended up having to go, no, because Tennessee was a host in the region.
The host.
The year that they ended up playing Florida State, because Florida State upset someone to win, and LSU upset somebody in a.
It was Martin's last year, right?
Right. Or was LSU a regional team that year? I can't remember, but we'll find out. We'll find out.
I don't remember, bro. That's been too long ago.
Yeah, we will. Find
did we
out.
go to the Austin regional that year?
I don't. Why are we guessing? We got Google. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, that's very good. I'm just lazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't feel like looking it up.
What's that? What I just said? 2018. NCAA.
I think 2018 was the year that you guys went to Oregon State, where you
Yeah, that's
guys
the year we
barely
went to
snuck
Oregon
in.
State.
Okay, so 2017. Let me
I don't think it was 2017.
I
Pool.
think
I
it was
think it was
2019.
2019.
2019?
Because 2017 that's when you guys played Florida in the championship.
Mm-hmm. Well, 2019 is the year we was Maneri last year.
It wasn't in. It was when was Martin last year then?
Oh, you said Martin. Oh,
Yeah.
Mike Martin. 2017 is the year we went to the. Is the year we went to Natty.
2017 we went, yeah.
He said
Okay.
LSU host. Josh said LSU host that year against Florida State.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know, bro. We'll just have to wait and see who hosts whenever both of them teams win. How about that?
Okay, that was it was 2019. So let me see. Let me go back to the overall bracket. Let me see. So that was no LSU hosted. They did host, yeah. Play Arizona State, Southern Miss, and Stony Brook.
That's the LSU lost to Stony Brook. Nah.
No, they beat Stony Brook and
Yeah, I
lost
know.
to Florida State and what's called. Yeah.
That's when Spencer Torres went off against you guys, but ASU would always find a way to lose.
Yeah.
They had leads in both of their games.
Yeah. Oh man, Josh said he was there. Well, Josh don't go to no games this year. But all right, fellas. Let me ask
him a Major League Baseball question before we switch sports.
All right.
I know it's still kind of early, but what's your thoughts so far of the Major League season? What team surprised you? What team disappointed you so far?
I think the one who's been surprising is it's either the Rays or the Diamondbacks. The way how consistently they've been doing.
Yeah, the start the Rays had, I think, historic definitely, and I think I ain't gonna give the Diamondbacks any kind of credit, so I'm just look at the Rays. But I think whenever you look at the young talent that they have and the way that they've been able to get what they've been able to get from their rotation, I think that's been the biggest surprise. And that division, they was probably supposed to be kind of fighting for the bottom of Baltimore, but they look like they're gonna be, if not the favorite, right up there with the Yankees this year.
I think another one surprising is the Rangers. They have the second. I think they have 34 wins.
They spent a lot of money though in the offseason.
They did,
couple offseason, especially in the middle infield.
Mm-hmm. And then it's crazy because DeGrom back-to-back starts, he had to get pulled. I was like, but I mean they're still finding a way to get the wins in. So
yeah, and then I mean if you look at the Mets kind of gave up on DeGrom, spent all that money on Scherzer. Don't look like they're going to get anything out of him for a while. And, I mean, I kind of feel like there's a few teams like them who no matter what they do, they kind of just can't get out their own way. And I'm starting to wonder. The Padres, yes.
They lost in a walk-off today against the Marlins right before we went on.
And then the Braves, I mean, they lost back-to-back against the Oakland Athletics, who I feel like me, you, and Pooh Bell could go play with Pooh Bell's son's team and beat the Oakland Athletics right now. So, I mean, the A's, I mean, the Braves, it seems like they have all the talent, but they can't seem to find a way to put it together.
Well, it's funny you say that because I read a stat. The last team the A's swept was the 2022 Houston Astros. And look what they did.
Yeah.
And then with the Braves,
that's a hell of a stat right there, Julian.
And then with the Braves too, I mean, you lose Max Fried and you lose Kyle Wright, so you're down two pitchers. Bryce Elder is becoming what Spencer Strider was last year. Spencer Strider, and then yesterday on Monday you had Mike Soroka's return from his turn to Achilles, and he did pretty well. And then they brought up their number 4 prospect today too. So if they could just Yeah,
Go ahead, my bad.
I think if they could just hold on until Max Fried gets back, then they'll be okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What so far right now? Who do you think is the leader of like MVP?
I would say Acuna, the year that he's having, the steals and the home runs. I think he's gonna go 40-40.
That I mean, yeah, I think you could definitely get that number now with the steals, with the
with the
you
steal.
know with the
Yeah,
clock and what they've been able to do with the bases and things of that nature.
with the
But
only two pickoff moves, you can only do two
and
per.
that too. But at the same, they made the bases a little bit
A little
bigger
bigger.
and things of that nature. So I think they've kind of changed the rules to help encourage base stealing, and I think that's in the part that's why you've seen teams like the Diamondbacks and the Rays and some of these younger teams. I think that's why you've kind of seen them be successful because it's almost like they've kind of reverted back to small ball in some instances because they using the speed and the youth that they have to steal bases and what I mean, turn singles into doubles, and things of that nature, and you see teams like the Dodgers, on the other hand, who have old guys, and they're kind of just trying to play the same style that they played for the past 5-6 years that's been so successful for them. But whenever they run it up into some of these younger teams, it's not always successful playing the style of play that the Dodgers do.
No, yeah, I think also too the shift has been taken away too, so you're seeing a lot
Mm-hmm.
more those base hits. I know on Sunday night they were saying I think Albies had a hit up the middle, and they're like last year a shortstop was there. That's an easy ground out. There's no one there that scores 2 runs.
Yeah, definitely. So who you think? Who you think right now? I know it's very early. Right now, who you got in the World Series?
In the World Series, I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna be the Braves, and let's go for the Rays. Let's keeping it on the East Coast.
Ah,
I'm be honest with y'all. I ain't watching MLB this year because my team stinks.
who's
They
that?
look. The Cardinals have been so up and down. It's just been listen.
It's the new beginning of a new era, man. Y'all trying to find y'all ways.
And then they're struggling too with Contreras as catcher. Like, I think I saw in interviews like I want to throw what I want to throw. It's kind of
Yeah,
alarming.
yeah. I mean, that's when you lost Molina, who had been there for forever, bro. Like it and as good as Contreras is, it's almost like it don't matter who you bring in after Molina. It's gonna be too big of a drop off, though. You know what I mean? It's gonna take time for you to replace that, no matter who you bring in.
Yeah, it's been bad, very bad, man. But hey,
But I'm still gonna say right now, it's gonna be the Dodgers versus the Rays again. Y'all heard it
Another
here first.
2020.
Yep, rematch of the bubble. Even though it really wasn't a bubble, but yeah. But speaking of South Florida teams, you got the jersey on. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a minute to rep your boys and talk your noise and tell us what y'all gonna do tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, I think we're just gonna come in and I think we're gonna shock the world. I mean, we always won Game 1 in our playoffs, so let's keep the streak going. I think it plays an advantage for us because Denver had 9 days off, and then as much as you want to have the rest, is good. But how do you replicate game simulation during practice?
That's true. That's true.
And
It's
then
always
also,
that rust versus rest kind of. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? Like, at what point does it hurt you to be resting this long?
Then also too, the Heat have been there in Denver since Tuesday, so they already got used to the altitude already.
Good point. Good
that's
point.
true.
Let me ask you this: how much do you think that you know Jimmy, Bam, Duncan, even Lowry, like those guys have been there. Kevin Love, those guys have been there before. And Denver doesn't have, except for Caldwell Pope, really doesn't have anybody who's been there before. How much do you think
Jeff
Jeff Green? That's right.
Jeff
That's
Green.
right. Other than them, but I mean, those are really role players.
Mhm.
Like they don't really have any stars who have been on the finals stage before. How much do you think that's gonna, factor in y'all's benefit?
I think a factor too, and then I think you're also forgetting that Gabe Vincent was also a role player during the
That's true.
bubble.
That's
So
true
he
too.
was there. So
Yeah.
True.
I mean, there's just so many things. Like I think right now, as the Heat organization, it just go in there and do your job. It doesn't matter like if you've been there, if you didn't, because everyone stepped up. Like Gabe Vincent, Max Strus a couple of times, Caleb Martin. Like
Caleb Martin's been
J Cole.
huge.
Salute,
Yeah.
salute to you. I knew you were my favorite rapper for a reason. Thank you for the help. But I
But
mean, you see everybody.
yeah,
And then
that is true.
another player we're kind of forgetting because he doesn't play a lot, but Uncle UD.
Yeah.
He's been like, I think I saw a stat. He's been in the finals for like certain decades because he was there in 06, the
Yep.
Big Three run, and then
Yep. 3 different
2020, and
decades.
then this one.
7
he's
finals
seen,
appearances.
so he's seen it all. So and he's also another coach for us too. So
That's crazy. 7 final appearances. He's the greatest Heat player of ever. Even better than D Wade. I'm just playing. But
I think Jimmy Butler's. Yeah, I think if Jimmy Butler wins, I think he tops that.
oh, okay. Okay. Let me ask you this.
Oh,
Spoelstra has been the best coach in every series so far in these playoffs. Do you think that continues? Do you think he outcoaches Malone?
I think so because I think he has a good staff, and also too you have the Godfather behind him too, so he's gonna
Yeah.
see things as well. Like I think I saw another stat too that the Pat Riley he's either played in the finals, coach of the finals, or he was
Been
the
the
GM in
GM
the finals.
for
So he
what,
has a lot of experience.
25% of all NBA finals or something like that? Yeah, it's
hmm
ridiculous, bro.
So I think that's what I think that he has that extra help that other organizations doesn't have.
Yeah, that's a very valid point.
I'm still thinking about your stat you gave last week about
Kevin
Kevin Love.
Love. My guy Kevin Love made the finals every playoffs. Every year he's made the
He's been in the
playoffs, he's made the
playoffs.
finals.
And I think
Ridiculous.
we saw Caleb Martin take over the starting role because Boston used the high pick and screen against them, and they knew that
Hmm.
Love couldn't move that. But I mean, when you're going against the Joker, you need bodies against them just to be physical with him.
Yeah. And that's another thing is I think y'all have the size to match up better than Boston did
hmm
with Denver. You know what I mean? Y'all have obviously Bam, but y'all have Kevin Love. Yeah, I have Struce. You know what I mean? Y'all have some guys who y'all can kind of throw at them. And Boston, I mean, other than Al Horford and Robert Williams, I mean, Mike Muscala, I mean, he ain't gonna stop nobody.
No,
Um,
I
So
just
what
think
y'all
it
think?
depends.
Y'all
I
winning
just think it.
tomorrow?
I think so. I think the confidence in. I think the team rolls as Jimmy rolls. Like if he's on, he's on. If they don't, I mean, you also see when he struggles, like he has the support. It's just not letting him get in the moment, get too big for them.
Do you think that Caleb should have gotten the conference MVP or conference finals MVP over Jimmy?
I think it's a tale of two series. Like I know we said to 7 games, but the first 3 games it was all Jimmy Butler, and then
Hmm.
he kind of went down, and then Caleb Martin took over.
Yeah, and in that
So,
last game, it was kind of both.
but it
Yeah,
was both of them.
I agree. I think what tilted it to Jimmy, in my opinion, was the other end of the court. You know,
The defense,
averaging 2.5 steals for the series. I think
and then
really turned it.
the block he
Yeah.
had in game was it game 3? No, that's the New York series where he had the block on the guy who tried to drive.
Oh yeah. But I mean, just the what he was able to do to Tatum in the series, frustrating him. You know, in a lot of them games. I think that's what ultimately is the reason why everybody's talking about the scoring. And true enough, Caleb Martin did step up and take over
And he
that
scored.
scoring load a lot. But Jimmy, even when Jimmy wasn't putting up, 30 a game, he was still giving it all he had on the other end. And so I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's game.
I think Bam is the most important guy this series. What you think?
I think so. I think it's either he comes out like there's a joke on my podcast that I listen to. When he's aggressive, they call him Bam, but like when he's non-aggressive or non-existent, they call him Idris because that's his name. So it's like which one are you gonna get? You're gonna get Idris or you're gonna get Bam?
Yeah.
Because he has the ability to take over. It's just sometimes he shies away, but I think the bench players are gonna come to Lowry, and I think another one that we don't talk about is Tyler Hero, game 3 is they're
Yep.
setting his return, and it's at
Yes.
home too. So
Yeah, that would be huge if y'all were able to get him back, and if y'all could steal one in Denver, and then go back to Miami 1-1 and get him back, that changes the entire landscape of the series.
I think we don't even have to rush him back to start. Like have him run with the twos. Like I think
Yeah.
it would be pretty deadly.
Yeah, have him run with the twos. That way he can kind of hunt and shot a little bit more and kind of get that
Get the
scoring
rhythm.
groove back and everything back. Yeah, that would be deadly. That would be deadly for sure.
Let me ask this. Does this not kind of remind you of the another series that Kyle Lowry was in when
The
Toronto
Raptors
and Golden State?
I think a little bit, but it's different because I think Kawhi was the main focus because Kawhi was going to be
Yeah.
Kawhi, but you also got to remember too, KD was coming back from injury, and then the series kind of shifted when he tore his Achilles again,
And Clay got hurt.
and then Clay got hurt.
Yeah, only reason I say that because you got what I'm saying, you had Kawhi, and then you've got Jimmy Butler, and then you had Pascal, and then you can kind of think of Caleb Martin.
Mm-hmm.
That player that you weren't necessarily expecting to come in and take over or whatever, and Pascal took over game 1, and I think that me personally, I think them taking game 1 was like the biggest thing in that series. So I mean,
think so, too.
outside of course the
injuries. Yeah.
I think so. But I also think the mindset of Jimmy Butler, like I don't know if you see, like on social media, they've been saying all this and that, and like he doesn't care. And then Max Strus, he posted on an Instagram post, and then the last post was because he played for the Celtics, and it had the timestamp when he got released. So he has that savagery in him. So that mental mindset that Jimmy has is spreading out to the team as well. So that's could be dangerous for them.
Let me ask this: how many games?
I think it's going to go 7.
Yeah, I think it goes 6 or 7.
All right. Reason I asked that because it don't matter how many it go. When it's over with, Shannon Sharp's time at Undisputed is going to be over too. It's reported today that Shannon Sharp is leaving Undisputed after the NBA Finals.
My question: does he go to ESPN?
I'm thinking that sounds about right.
Him versus Stephen A.
Instead of Skip, you hear Steve.
Come on, Steve. Come on now, Steve.
No, I think so. I think if he goes to ESPN, he can't bring out the Hennessy no more.
That's true.
Oh, that's true. Orders.
Club Shay Shay gonna have to close.
That's true.
Club Shay Shay gonna have to close. It's gonna have to be like, oh, breaking news: Monty Williams and the Detroit Pistons have agreed in principle on a 6-year, $72 million deal.
Interesting.
That's a good pickup. I got some breaking news too.
6 years? That's a long time.
I got breaking news too. Out of the college ranks, 2023 Player of the Year center Zach Edey is returning for another season.
No. Sir, what are you gonna do in the league? Sir, you are 7'6" and you move like a traffic cone. What are you gonna do in the league?
According to some people, never mind.
What are you gonna do in the league, sir?
No comment. Man, let's talk some WNBA real quick, man. Last night we saw Breanna Stewart return to Seattle. Her and the New York Liberty took on the Seattle Storm, and Breanna Stewart had a field day.
Of course.
Anything she wanted to do, it seemed like she was doing it. Blocks, shots, post moves, it didn't matter. So
she definitely got to be probably the leading candidate for MVP right now. Top 2 player in the league right now, her A'ja Wilson, in my opinion, are the best players in the league at the moment. But yeah, man, I think I think she kind of started kind of nervous in a sense, but then she settled in about midway through that first quarter, and then she became Stewie again, and she went off. But
Yeah.
I think the most important thing about the Liberty is it seems like their big four is starting to kind of gel and starting to kind of learn how to play with each other, and that could kind of be scary for just about everybody else in the league.
All right. Yeah, I didn't check out the other game, the Lynx versus I forget who they were playing.
The
Dallas,
wings,
Dallas Wings.
yeah, the
That's right.
wings, yeah.
I didn't check that game out. I was
They
glued to
lost. The Lynx lost. They 0-5. They probably the worst team in the league right now.
yeah.
It's either them or Seattle. But Seattle seems to have a little more fight than Minnesota does. Both of them are kind of the end of an era. You know,
Mhm.
Seattle lost Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart left, Tina Charles left. All they really got left is Jewel Lloyd. And then when you look at Minnesota, obviously Sylvia Fowles retired, Maya Moore stepped away. You know, they pretty much Simone Augustus retired a few years ago. So that dynasty kind of came to an end, and they're starting to kind of rebuild after that. They got some good young pieces, but they just can't put it together yet. Also, yesterday the Sun beat the Fever. Fever finally got a win, but they still kind of struggling out of the gate. Aaliyah Boston has been playing outrageous though, and I will say I don't care if you're an LSU fan or not. A lot of y'all out there was clowning Aaliyah Boston last year when she was getting player of the year consideration and stuff. Because y'all was looking at that box score and y'all wasn't actually watching her play. And y'all was saying she was overrated. She shouldn't deserve to go number one. And a whole bunch of other stuff that I saw from not just LSU fans, but a whole bunch of people in general. And now she in the WNBA and she's setting records and doing stuff that ain't never been done before. And y'all acting surprised. If y'all would have watched that girl actually watch the woman play in college, y'all would have known what she was capable of doing, and y'all would have known she a dog. So kudos to you, Aaliyah, for doing your thing. And also if they wouldn't have been so worried about talking about Don Staley in South Carolina in a negative light and would have been giving them their due credit, then maybe she would have got the proper recognition she deserved, and people wouldn't be so surprised right now. But off my soapbox, I go. And also yesterday, the Atlanta Dream got their first win of the season. They beat the Chicago Sky, and second win of the season. My bad. They beat the Chicago Sky in kind of a surprising blowout. But yeah, that's your WNBA recap.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, man. Let's talk a little football before we get ready to get up out of here. Looking here, LSU is hosting a youth camp, youth football camp. Let's see here. Go to you can go register at Next Gen's Camps. That's NEXTGEN camps.com. You got J.K. Johnson, Mason Smith, and Jaden Daniels will be here. This camp is June 4th, so you don't have time to waste. Go ahead and register, get your kids out there, let them, have a little fun. So that's out now. That's out the way. Jaden Daniels, he's
Yeah.
he's gonna be headed to the Manning Passing Academy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good exposure for him. While we on the topic of LSU and football, what y'all think about them air conditioner helmets?
Oh, that's so dope.
It's gonna pay off in Orlando.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, Pooh, you kind of mentioned it. I don't know who all is gonna be able to get access to these. You know what I mean? And if it's just a strictly LSU thing, or if it's something that could be distributed to all colleges. But the first thing that came to my mind was, how many lives is this gonna save, bro? From players overheating and things of that nature during spring, not just during games, but in spring workouts and summer workouts and things of that nature. So that's the first thing that came to my mind was, bro, you're gonna probably save somebody's life with this. But the next thing that came to my mind was, boy, you're gonna need that in September 2nd at 12 o'clock in Baton Rouge or in Gainesville, or you know what I'm saying, somewhere like that on them 11 o'clock games.
I'm glad you said that because the SEC just announced LSU versus Grambling is going to kick off at 6:30 on September 9th. It's going to be on SEC Network Plus. And then I think they announced the game against Mississippi State is going to be on at 11 o'clock. I know. But we got air conditioned helmets though.
The fans ain't got air conditioners.
That's in Starkville this year anyway.
Oh, cool. I watch from the crib, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be in Starkville. I'm trying to think if there's other LSU football news. I thought that was something else. That might be it. But we still got some more NFL news.
What we got?
Well, it's not really news, but I guess it's a question.
Okay.
The Raiders, did they make a mistake with Jimmy G, signing Jimmy G? Julian, ain't that's your squad, I believe.
We should have signed Lamar. Give Lamar everything that he wants.
I ain't gonna say they made a mistake. I'll say that they shouldn't have got rid of Derek Carr until they known what they would really had in Jimmy G. But I asked this yesterday on the radio, and I'm gonna ask you this, Julian, since this your squad. It was rumored that it was gonna happen in Miami, but he became part owner of the Raiders instead. His former offensive coordinator is the head coach there. Tom Brady gonna be our quarterback next year?
At this point, I'm willing to take it. But
I'm just saying.
The difference that I heard is he's going to be the same situation in Tampa where he has all the weapons but no O-line. I think that's where he struggled last year. He didn't have an O-line.
That's a fair point. But in Tampa, he didn't have Josh McDaniels. That's all I'm going to say.
I think he also didn't have a good running game. As much as playoff running was good, but they threw the ball 60 times.
He wasn't Josh Jacobs.
No, he wasn't. Hey, man, I'm still kind of upset we haven't still paid that man because he deserves it. But
yeah, I don't know. I ain't gonna say
way they don't pay the running backs.
Yeah, he'll pay a receiver who runs a 4.2 though. But if I'm not gonna say that Tom Brady gonna be our quarterback, but that's a Raiders thing though. You know what I mean? Like if it was gonna happen anywhere where he come out of retirement as a player owner, it would be with the Raiders.
We're gonna have our first Jackie Moon. Except I'm expecting Tom Brady to perform at halftime. Put the bear in the middle.
Oh man,
that's funny.
He gonna be out there with Sheriff performing at halftime. You know y'all in Vegas.
Got Chris Angel with the next week as well.
Sheriff ain't gonna. Never mind. I was gonna say Sheriff. Never mind. No comment. Man, it's this. We talked about this a little bit on Sunday. D Hop, man.
Yeah, I want to know what Julian think he gonna go because I heard some talk about potentially him and Devontae Adams teaming up together. So, what you think about that?
I mean, I would like it, but at this point, who's gonna throw the ball? Josh Jacobs.
Jarrett Stidham.
He's not in it. They released him.
Who y'all quarterback then?
Brian Hoyer and then the dude from Purdue, O'Connell.
Oh, Aiden O'Connell. That's right. Man, I seen a meme today that said Aiden O'Connell looked like the quarterback playing Derek Carr in a movie about Devontae Adams.
I mean, at this point, that's just that let the punter be the quarterback.
Man.
Hey, I don't want to hear nothing about the Raiders punters. Y'all cut my boy Marquette King, and I ain't cared about the Raiders ever since.
So
I'm just playing. My boy Justin Ellis used to play for the Raiders. I was supporting y'all when y'all had him. Then y'all let him walk. So F y'all. I'm just playing.
No, we let a lot of people walk. So at the end of the day, they start well.
What you think about John Gruden coming to help the Saints with Derek Carr?
I mean, he was his favorite. Gruden or Carr was his favorite coach. So, I mean, it's not no surprise. But I think it shows like they're desperate in New Orleans because they know the division's not that good to win.
Now you're talking facts. And not just that, Dennis, I don't know if he don't win right this year, he ain't getting another coaching chance ever.
Yeah. Chance Babin chimes in and said Florida won the men's golf natty.
Yeah, I could have lived my life just fine without knowing that. I can't stand Florida, bro. I don't want to give them no kind of recognition, bro.
I didn't even know the what's called was going on right now. The golf national championship. I didn't realize.
I can't stand Florida, bro.
I can't either.
I think I dislike Florida more than any school. Julian, as a Miami fan, who's a bigger rival, Florida State or Florida?
Florida State, because we have respect for Florida State because they actually want to play us every year. Whereas at Florida, they duck us every other year.
That sounds familiar. Florida tried to duck LSU. Never mind.
Hurricane, yeah. We know. Yeah.
Don't get me started on that. But man, Julian, man, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter as Max Julian. Too, if you want some good music, I retweet some good music and stuff. If you want to learn about the Heat, just check my stuff right there.
There you go.
God.
Julian, as always, we appreciate you. We'll have to come back next week, talk about Super Regional.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back on Sunday. Not gonna be on tomorrow for HBCU Hour. Gotta take that one off. First game of the finals. I'll be doing some traveling, so
yes, sir.
We'll see. But anything else before we get up out of here?
That's all I got, man. Happy birthday, Mama. I love you.
Happy birthday, Miss Petty, Mama Petty.
Happy birthday.
So, all right, man. Like that, we out. This show was presented by betonline.ag.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden